Yo, what's happening, everybody? It's your boy Erskmac the Mad Scientist, and this is Pro Wrestling Talk Live, man. Listen, I'm gonna give you the schedule every single week for the next few months for 2024. But first, please hit that like and subscribe button and that notification bell. That way you get notified on all the content that we put out for you guys. But here is the schedule as follows every single week on the Orange Phoenix channel. Starting Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern time, myself and Vivo will be covering solo leveling each episode. You understand? Each episode we will be doing an anime breakdown of solo leveling. You understand? And on Tuesday, this is Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to be talking all things pro wrestling. And man, we got a lot of stuff to cover. So today's the day we're going to cover that. And then by the end of the show, I'm going to definitely tell you what the rest of our schedule is. Now, for our patrons out there, shout out to MF_Smitty because he's won our very first drawing in our Patreon. If you want to support our Patreon, click on the link in the description below. All right. So now, the biggest news of wrestling right now over the past week has been sending Twitter and all social media, even TMZ, in a blaze. And that is Cody Rhodes and The Rock. Now, to give you a little bit of breakdown, before I even jump on this thing, I have to give you a little bit of information, a little bit of a preface before I get on my soapbox when it comes to the hashtag We Want Cody and everything else in between. And that is that the WWE is a publicly traded company. It's not just a pro wrestling company. It is a sports entertainment juggernaut. It is the #1 sports entertainment company in the world. Since this merger of TKO, they have been in the green since the merger. I mean, last time I checked, this is before the Vince McMahon scandal and everything else in between. It was up by 78%. That's from the time of its inception up till now. So WWE is no longer alone. It's WWE and the UFC. It's Endeavor. It's TKO. And on top of all that, you got Dwayne Johnson sitting in Vince McMahon's seat. Well, formerly Vince McMahon's seat on the board. So that leads us to believe, for the fan base, that he bullied his way into WrestleMania. Now, for some of the naysayers out there, if you don't think that Dwayne Johnson holds a high position, that he can actually make decisions when it comes to WWE, I got something for you. So group.com. This is TKO's Investors Group website, and here is the hierarchy as follows. It is Ariel Emanuel, who is the CEO. He is the Chief Executive Officer. You got Mark Shapiro, which is the President and Chief Operating Officer. You have Peter C.B. Bino, he's the Director of TKO. You have Egon P. Durbin, and under him is Dwayne Johnson. And under Dwayne Johnson, it is Brad Keywell and Nick Khan. Nick Khan is the CEO of WWE at this point in time. Who's under Nick Khan? That is Triple H. Triple H is the key chief content officer for WWE. So let's backtrack a little bit before I get on my soapbox. Again, WWE is a publicly traded company, which implies that as far as the fan base is concerned, you are secondary. We are secondary. It's all about the bottom line. It's all about the money. How much box office are we going to generate? How much of a buzz we're going to generate? How much money we are going to make? And ain't the fan base. It's like they can give a shit. Even though they will say on TV, it's about the people. That's bullshit because the people pay money, and it's all about the money. So you have someone of the level of Cody Rhodes, who is by all intents and purposes, he is the #1 babyface in the WWE and has been since he debuted back into the WWE. He's been the #1 babyface because the WWE has pushed him to be so, and that's what it is. Roman Reigns is your guy. He is the champion for 3 whole years. He faces Cody for the first time last year at WrestleMania and beats Cody. Even after Cody, wins the Royal Rumble and everything else in between, some people was upset about that. I'm like, nah, you ruined the feeling and everything else in between. Me personally, I wasn't opposed to Cody losing because, in recent memory, this is the longest reign any champion has accomplished. And I know there's rumors about Hogan, beating Hogan's record and everything else in between. I'm going to attack that later. But for a whole entire year, you built Cody up, fighting his way tooth and nail with feuds after feuds after feuds with Brock Lesnar and Shinsuke Nakamura. And you come back to square one where you go to Royal Rumble once again, where this time, this is probably the most unpredictable Royal Rumble we come across in the past few years because you got a lot of major players here. You got Drew McIntyre, you got CM Punk, you got Cody Rhodes, you got Gunther, you got all these people that could possibly win the Royal Rumble. And honestly, I ain't really had this feeling since the 90s because you don't know. You didn't know who was going to win. You didn't automatically know who was going to win. So when you take that and you have Cody win for the second year in a row, he gets in the corner on the top turnbuckle and he points. He points at Roman Reigns, which honestly, everybody knew from the beginning of 2023 that this was the goal. Everybody knew this was the goal for Cody. Everybody knew eventually Cody gonna make his way back to Roman Reigns and face him once again. Whether it's win, lose, or draw, it is the journey. We understood the journey as a fan base. That's it. But you come hit us with SmackDown, and Cody willingly gives up his position as the main event of WrestleMania to The Rock, a person that did not put the work in for 2 years like Cody did and just literally took that spot. I see it on both sides here. I see it on the money side. You try to make it more box office, but honestly and truly, you can't sell out a venue more than you already sold out a venue. It's already sold out. They done this. They accomplished this without The Rock. And for people that don't understand that, because there's rumors circling and there's been reports out there from Sean Ross Sapp to Dave Meltzer to Wrestling Purists that he bullied his way into that. And part of that contract signing is him being on the board is that he main events WrestleMania against his cousin Roman Reigns. That's not far-fetched. He has his own creative team. That's just what it is. He has his own creative team. And apparently, as of January 3rd, this was already in the work. But you could see how dejected Cody was the moment he gave his position away. But Cody is a company guy. That's what he is. That's who he is. And, he's all about status quo. But he knew full well this wasn't going to go over well with the fan base. Because for some reason, anytime The Rock comes out into a WWE ring, he gets cheered, and that's what it is. And that's what they was banking on. And they didn't get the reception that they want. You go to YouTube, and it is the most disliked YouTube clip WWE ever done. 600,000 dislikes. Again, I tell you, WWE is about the bottom line. They are about the money, and that's it. And TKO, just the same. No matter who takes over the WWE, whether it's Vince, whether it's Triple H, whether it's Nick Khan, that bottom line is always matter. That always matters. It is number one. Fans are number two. Number three, whatever the case may be, until they make enough noise where they can't get ignored. This is the same as Daniel Bryan, or very similar to Daniel Bryan, because honestly, Vince McMahon was the one who did not see the allure of Daniel Bryan, but everybody around him saw it, to the point where they wanted Batista and Randy Orton in the main event WrestleMania. Like, that's supposed to be box office, which in all intents and purposes, that is a main event level WrestleMania. But if you got a guy that's sitting over here that is completely over, and you are ignoring that because you personally don't see the allure of it, but everybody else around you sees it, that is tone deaf as fuck. It is. To the point where hands were being forced, and they had to finagle their way to put Daniel Bryan into the main event of WrestleMania to make it bigger than what it already was. And the same thing applies to what's going on with Cody, because the hashtag "We Want Cody" been circulating all over social media. And, of course, we view Twitter and X as like the 0.5% of the wrestling community, but it wasn't just Twitter. It was Facebook. It was Instagram. It was sports figures. It was TMZ. Hashtag "We Want Cody." That was not the WWE's game plan. Do not be fooled by that shit. Okay? On Monday Night Raw, there was hashtag "We Want Cody" signs all over. Those signs were handed out. Whether it's by WWE or whether it's by someone who created those signs, it doesn't matter. The fact that the camera did not go away from those hashtag Cody signs, they're twisting it as if this was our idea the whole time. We just want to make Cody bigger than what he already is. How can you make a man bigger than what he already is, and he's already number one in merchandise sales? How can you make a man that's bigger than what he is, and he's the number one babyface in the industry? The stadium is already sold out for 2 nights straight. It was not needed. WWE made a mistake, but they will never admit that they made a mistake. No matter who's in charge of the WWE, they will never admit to making a mistake. And this was a mistake of epic proportions, because they thought, not Triple H, because if it was up to Triple H, this would never transpire. This would never taken place. If he was in charge of this situation, if he was on that board, if he was sitting on Dwayne Johnson's seat, he would not have done this. He knew what was up. But at the same time, with what happened with the WWE and Cody willingly give it away, it didn't make any sense whatsoever. No matter if you try to make sense of it, it made zero sense at all. You go from winning the Royal Rumble, because 90% of the time, if you win the Royal Rumble, 9 times out of 10, you are going to main event WrestleMania. And honestly, typically, you go for the biggest prize in WrestleMania. Typically, that's how it goes. It don't happen 100% of the time, but typically that's how it goes. But if you got, if you got the number one babyface winning the Royal Rumble, who is most likely to face? That is where we at with this. So WWE is forced to course correct, considering the backlash that is received. But now, will WWE course correct to the point that what fans want? That remains to be seen, because on Thursday, that's when the decision really takes off, because The Rock will speak in Vegas ahead of the Super Bowl. He will speak on his match with Roman Reigns, and what happens with Cody, things will get official. And with what happened on Raw, they are leaning into this as if it was their plan. Michael Cole is beating people over the head. Pat McAfee's talking about it. Drew McIntyre is talking about it. Like, you know, you're ruining WrestleMania. You're giving away your opportunity. Yada, yada, yada. That wasn't part of the plan. That wasn't an original plan. They are pivoting back to trying to get Cody back here. So, looking at this situation, where you at with it, it's so simple how you could include The Rock in WrestleMania. Very, very simple. What you could have done is have The Rock be a special enforcer for Cody in his main event for, you know, WrestleMania. Anytime the bloodline gets involved, The Rock gets involved. Costs Roman the match, costs him his title, costs him his 3-year reign. Cody is your top babyface. Rock endorses Cody. It is what it is. And Roman got to axe the ground with Rock. Now you have a year-long build-up between Rock and Roman, and there's no title included. It's for role of tribal chief. That is your main event for WrestleMania 41. How simple is that? That, I mean, a kindergartner could have wrote that. Easy pickings. Easy pickings. Or if you want to pivot, since that's the word we are using over the past, you know, few days and a week or so. So here's another idea. Now that you put yourself into a hole, WWE, here's what you could do. Rock could go do a press conference and say, hey, you know, The Rock is the people's champ, and The Rock has always been about the people. So what I aim to do is give up my spot against Roman Reigns. Matter of fact, no, scratch that. I will wrestle Roman Reigns at WrestleMania night 1. Cody will not lose his spot. Whoever wins that championship will face Cody at WrestleMania because he earned that WrestleMania main event. Simple. Simple as that. Now, if you had an idea of merging titles again, like you spent all this time with Seth, like building that world heavyweight title up for them titles to merge again, bad idea. Bad idea. That means whatever Seth was doing up until that point meant nothing. And also, there's also the third option where Rock actually stays with the course and say, yes, I will face Roman, Cody will face Seth, or whatever the case may be, and keep on going with it. I mean, that's a pretty ballsy move, but he can definitely keep that move going because of his position. So now, if you want to get to the extremes of it, of financials, if the fan base at Philadelphia, which is very, very vocal, by the way. I mean, I don't know the last time you've been to Philly, to an Eagles game or anything associated with Philly. Philly fans are wild. They're buck wild. Now, what if the population at WrestleMania refund their tickets? What if they start refunding their tickets? That's never been done before. To a scale where it's being noticed. If those tickets get refunded, oh my God. Now, that's impossible. I mean, I don't think that's ever going to happen. Like, let's be clear. Let's be real about this. Because if you're spending $800 to $1,500 on some tickets for WrestleMania, not to mention hotel costs and travel costs and everything else in between, you're not going to refund that shit. You ain't going to do that. You're going to go there and you're going to enjoy WrestleMania for what it is. You're going to be mad about it because you spent all that money, but you ain't going to refund that money, though. Let's be honest with it. Now, as far as people that are like watching it on pay-per-view, they can boycott and say, hey, I'm not watching WrestleMania. But again, that's improbable because it's WrestleMania. You really going to miss WrestleMania? You really not going to watch WrestleMania or whatever the case may be? Now, I mean, you could do it to the effect of noticing, having WWE notice what's going on. But at the same time, WWE is concerned with the bottom line. Is it shitty what's happening to Cody? By all intents and purposes, yes, it's shitty. You're literally telling everyone in that locker room, no matter what kind of work you put in leading up to WrestleMania, someone from the past can take your shit and can take your spot. That is a slap in the face to everybody in that locker room that busted their ass to get to that point. People not looking at the bigger picture. They're looking at Cody and Rock and WrestleMania. I'm looking at the wider spectrum of things because honestly, this is deja vu. Honestly, this was one of the main issues WWE was dealing with. Whenever there's someone of the past, they took someone's spot because they was concerned about the mighty almighty dollar versus the talent that they deal with. I mean, was something CM Punk complained about when he cut the pipe bomb promo? Wasn't that one of the reasons Cody left the first time? Because where do you draw the line? Like, WWE is a juggernaut, and by all intents and purposes, it deserves to be a juggernaut because of the success that it has. There's a reason why it's a publicly traded company. But you can't say all practices have been good practices. I mean, you do it sometimes at the expense of some of the talent. Not all of the talent, because some talent has been riding the waves and they've been coasting. But during the Vince McMahon regime, you don't know if Vince was coming or going. One day he might be high on you. The next day he may not be. One day you might be over. Next day, you know what? Go back to the back of the line because I don't really like how it's moving right now. Even though the fan base might be behind you. If he don't like you, you're done. It's a wrap. But that's neither here or there because you got Triple H running the show. Morale is up. Everything else is up. Vince McMahon is out the door permanently. Then you have Dwayne Johnson, in which feels like deja vu, which this situation has to get fixed. But as a fan base, we can't allow WWE to feel like this was their brainchild. This was genius on our part because we thought of this the whole time. No, you didn't. The fans started this. They put hashtag we want Cody together. They dislike what the move that you made, or more or less Dwayne Johnson made, in pushing his way into a WrestleMania. Yes, we do want Roman and Rock at WrestleMania. Excuse me. But not at the expense of someone that put in the work. The show is already sold out. The man is already number one in merchandise sales. And he's going to be your figurehead for WWE. Like, he dressed the part. He talks eloquently. He's a fighting champion. He is the poster child. He will be the poster child for the WWE outside of Roman Reigns. Like, crazy. Like, he's already a superstar before he joined the WWE, and now he joined the WWE. He's already a superstar, like, straight out the gate on the reel. So WWE has to get their shit together, because if Rock was claiming that he was saving the WWE, he wasn't saving anything. It was already straight. Like, you go into a panic because CM Punk is hurt and Seth Rollins is partially hurt. There's so many other suitors out there for Seth Rollins to make it a very good WrestleMania. Sami Zayn to be one of them. I mean, didn't Sami Zayn work his ass off? Then he had one of the greatest storylines of all time in the WWE. Why not make him the World Heavyweight Champion? Why not make him the Workhorse Champion? Everybody would love that. Eat that up. That is WrestleMania type of match with Seth Rollins. Now, as previously noted, WWE has received negative feedback over The Rock taking Cody Rhodes' spot against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40, and various mainstream news outlets, including TMZ, have covered this situation. Now, according to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful.com on Twitter, excuse me, sources within WWE say that Cody is a company man and has long respected WWE's decision making, but claim Cody actually voiced that the audience wouldn't react well to the change in creative direction for Mania before last Friday. When asked if Cody was the only person that voiced his opinion, according to Sapp and the people that he spoke with, noted that Cody absolutely wasn't the only one that voiced their opinion. So that lets you know right off rip, that was not part of the story. Removing Cody and replacing him with Rock wasn't part of the story. They fucked up. That's what happened. They fucked up. And now they have to course correct because the fans do not like it. See, you might think of 600,000 dislikes as something that is minute. But when you look at a WrestleMania venue, it's like what, 70, 80,000 people? So you times that, how many WrestleManias is 600,000 people? How much money is that? How much money are you losing? Matter of fact, what talent have to say about this? Am I in jeopardy again? Will my hard work will not pay off because someone from the past will take my spot because they may feel like it might be a bigger box office show? It's a lot more damage that can be put out there if they stay the course and keep doing what they're doing and don't change things. This will happen. But we will see on Thursday. We will know for sure what happens on Thursday. Now, honestly and truly, Raw is already weaving its way into saying this is part of the story and everything else in between because they're trying to fix it. But only time will tell, and Thursday will be that time at that press conference when The Rock speaks about Roman Reigns and what he would do in regards to that. Now, also, we got a little bit of other news, and that is in regards to the AEW women's locker room. If you have been living under the rock, if you have not been watching the AEW, you need to be watching the AEW because it seems like the year of 2024 so far has been the year of the women's roster. And one of the main critiques of AEW is that the women's roster was lacking. And apparently TK and whoever the execs are at AEW have been listening. And women's matches have been featured a lot more on TV. You got from 1 to 2 women's matches per show on average. And these matches are not going to the bathroom type of matches. These matches are lengthy. I won't say like 30 minutes or nothing like that, but long enough to tell a story and show the level of physicality these women are capable of. And honestly and truly, when you're talking about signings, you're talking about Mercedes Moné, like she's going to show up eventually, and it is slated for March of 2024. Now it have been reports that she is already filming like vignettes and introductions and stuff like that for her March debut, allegedly her March debut. Wink. But Mercedes Moné is already signed with AEW. That's just what it is. That is what it is. It would have to take something very drastic in order for this not to happen. But I'm going to say this to the fan base of Mercedes Moné. If you truly love Mercedes Moné, or formerly known as Sasha Banks, you will follow her wherever she goes. Whether it's Stardom, whether it's WWE, whether it's AEW. Because if you call yourself downgrading her because she goes to AEW, then you never was truly a fan of her in the first place. Like, how you going to fault someone for getting paid what they're worth? Like, how you going to fault someone for if they feel like they should get paid that amount of money and they get paid that amount of money? You going to fault them for going there? Like, bitch, please. Like, who are you to tell a performer you better off going over here? Nah, if this mofo paying me more money and I feel like that's what I'm worth, I'm going over there. That's just what it is. Money talks, bullshit walks. That's just what it is. So if you love Mercedes Moné, if you love Sasha Banks, if you love her in-ring work, because honestly, she is one of the best women's wrestlers in the world, you will follow her wherever she goes. And you will follow her story and everything else in between, or how she's being pushed. All that stuff, all that tribalism bullshit, out the window. Because you never was truly a fan of hers in the first place. If the only way you're going to watch is in WWE, you're full of shit. That's just what it is. So Mercedes Moné is actually going to AEW. But not only that, though. Not only that. There's always these rumors circling about Okada, which, he's not a woman. going to AEW, but it's a lot of back and forth. There's talks of him going to NXT. There's talk of him going to AEW. But honestly, the biggest signing to me is Mercedes Moné, because that women's roster is bugging. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. You got Mercedes Moné, you got Jamie Hayter coming back, you got Britt Baker, you got Athena, you got Thunder Rosa coming back, Queen Aminata. Like, she's been putting in some serious work out here. Red Velvet. And now, as reported, last month, it was reported that WWE was quote-unquote super high on former NWA Women's Champion Camille, and the company reportedly offered her an NXT contract. Now, Mike Johnson of PWInsider.com has provided an update on Camille's free agency. Johnson noted that while there was interest from WWE, discussions are not moving forward. Furthermore, Camille is said to have been in deep discussions, quote unquote, with AEW. At this point, AEW is seen as a more likely destination for Camille, as it would allow her to pursue acting work that she seemingly wouldn't be able to do in the WWE. I'm gonna be honest with you, Camille is a huge get. If you haven't seen any of Camille's matches, go ahead and watch Empower on NWA. Camille versus Leela Hirsch. She actually defended her NWA Women's title on AEW television. She actually done that. The look that Camille has, it really does fit with WWE, to be honest with you. And you know, WWE is very, shall you say, it's tight when it comes to their talent. So when it comes to your own personal creativity, you're going to be limited to a degree. If you go to AEW, your creativity will not be limited. You have an option to branch out and do other things on top of doing what you love doing. So Camille wants to pursue acting. At the same time, she wants to be a professional wrestler too. She has an opportunity. That goes along with Mercedes Moné. Like, she's in Hollywood, and the fan base that she has, the loyal fan base that she has, will follow her to AEW, which means there's more butts in seats. There's more pay-per-view buy rates, and you got Camille there, which is a huge get. Like, the women's roster is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, it has not yet been confirmed that she signed with AEW. They just said deep discussions. Okay? Like, nothing has been signed yet, so don't take that with a grain of salt, because she could very well go to some place like TNA or whatever the case may be. It is what it is. But that women's roster for 2024 is looking good. It's looking pretty damn dangerous. It's looking very competitive towards like the TNA women's roster and the WWE women's roster. It's looking damn good. Not even going to hold you on that. And to be honest, with WWE Raw going to Netflix January 2025, that is a huge deal. SmackDown going to USA, I will say around about October time frame, which is a huge deal. Now, AEW is no slow leak either, because there was some breaking news as of an hour ago, and that is Warner Brothers Discovery is forming a joint streaming venture, and that was as of, I would say, maybe an hour and a half ago. Now, from what I gather from this situation is that Warner Brothers Discovery, ESPN, TNT, TBS, and Fox are forming a joint venture for streaming services as far as all sports entities. Now, I got the news here for you. It's that ESPN is a subsidiary of the Walt Disney Company. Fox and Warner Brothers Discovery have reached an understanding on principal terms to form a new joint venture to build an innovative new platform to house a compelling streaming sports service. The platform brings together the company's portfolios of sports networks, certain direct-to-consumer sports services and sports rights, including content from all major professional sports leagues and college sports. Now, key highlights to this streaming joint venture is that ESPN, Fox, and WBD would form a new joint venture to develop and launch and operate a streaming sports bundle of linear networks and certain DTC sports content. And Bob Iger, Chief Executive Officer of Walt Disney, said the launch of this new streaming sports service is a significant moment for Disney and ESPN, And we talking pro football. That's NFL and UFL. That's basketball, NBA and WNBA, baseball, hockey, college sports, golf, Grand Slam tennis, cycling, soccer. That includes FIFA, the FIFA World Cup, combat sports, UFC and Top Rank, and auto. Now, you might ask the question, what does that mean for AEW? Warner Brothers Discovery has AEW, right? They're going to get a significant increase in media rights when it comes to revenue. And they're going to be eating very, very well. If you're in a joint streaming venture with all these major sports companies or whatever the case may be, that is a huge deal. That's a huge deal. Now, it was just announced as of like maybe 2 hours ago. So we don't know the details of that. But details will develop, and by Thursday, myself and Boogie Blends will definitely be covering that in full. And how much it is, how much that deal is, and when it will get released, because that speaks volumes. And maybe, the whole Kansas City game on Peacock was like an experiment to see how it would stream and everything else. Maybe that's what it is. But that's a huge deal. But when it comes to AEW, they're part of TNT and TBS, and that is Warner Brothers Discovery. And that means more money in Tony Khan's pocket, which means more money to give the talent, which means bigger venues and everything else in between. Speaking of venues, a lot of people have been on TK's ass about the 2,000 seat, have these 15,000 seat arenas, but only sitting 2,000 and everything else in between. How we forget. Back in like 2017, 18, SmackDown was doing the same thing. Raw was doing the same thing. There are certain things called like slowdown in business or whatever the case would be. They didn't lose any money. But now when you really think about it, when you go to Texas, sold out, and Phoenix, Arizona, they're looking at 7,000 seats already done. 7,000 already done. So they can very well fill up 10, 15,000 seats, but it's coming. It's coming. So AEW is not taking this line down. I mean, you got partnerships with CMLL and maybe, just maybe, future partnerships with Stardom. Possibly, considering the news that just broke between the Hat Man, which is the owner of Stardom, and the way Stardom was getting built up and losing Hat Man. Stardom may be taking a huge dent, and maybe Tony Khan will be there to the rescue to help with Stardom. And then you got New Japan Pro Wrestling, which is a partnership with Tony Khan. So Forbidden Door 2024, a lot of people are speculating you're going to have AEW, CMLL, you're going to have New Japan Pro Wrestling, and possibly Stardom, all four companies in one, like a Worlds Collide type of situation, which would be completely awesome for a pro wrestling standpoint. So there's positives and negatives to both AEW and WWE. WWE, obviously, it is the number one pro wrestling company. That we're not taking that away from them. That's just what it is. But when you are a talent, you may be limited on what your creative juices are. That is the reality. That can hurt you or that can hinder you depending on your character. In AEW, you got a little bit more freedom. You got a little bit more creative freedom, to let your creative juices flowing. If you are a creative, AEW is there for you, right? Now, there's positive and negatives of each. But we will see what happens with Cody, with Seth, with The Rock, and WrestleMania come Thursday, and we will be covering that with Boogie Blends. And that's on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. That is the rest of the week. And Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern time, myself and Vivo will be back for more anime breakdown discussion. And this time is Ishura. Ishura episode 5 and 6. Now, I will tell you this. This is the last week, the last chance, that Ishura has with us. So Ishura is a little bit of a slow burn with myself and Vivo. So we're going to give it one more chance. If Ishura don't grab us, we will no longer cover Ishura as anime breakdown. We will find a whole nother anime to break down on Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Just to let you know. So for the people that has been following us with Ishura and everything else in between, if it don't catch us this week, this is going to be the last week going to cover Ishura. But solo leveling, that is for sure. Solo leveling, Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Today, Tuesday, every single Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time, Pro Wrestling Talk live. Thursday, myself, Boogie Blends, Nerd Talk live. All the news, comics, video games, all entertainment. Myself and Boogie Blends will definitely be covering all things of geekdom on Thursday at 7 p.m. And on Friday at 7 p.m. some more anime breakdown. This week it's going to be Ishura, and this is the make or break time. So do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button and that notification bell. Excuse me. So you get notified on all of our content. Be sure to support our Patreon, because if you continue to support our Patreon, the more patrons we have, the bigger and better this content will get if you enjoy our show. So until next time, y'all, peace.